Can't whistle and tune. I'm trying, but I'm struggling. Welcome into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here, filling in for Chad. Doing what you just heard there on the Blazers post-game show. Blazers go into Chicago. They battle the Bulls, and they fall 110 to 107. This is the fifth quarter. If you want to join in on the conversation with me tonight, you know what to do. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Or, of course, you can go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and we'll pop up right there where you can join the conversation. A tough one for the Blazers tonight as they kind of just struggled all night long. It was one of those weird nights where it's like you were watching a race and the car from behind would start to catch up and then the car in front would just get out ahead again. Like that's what the Bulls were doing. Every time the Blazers got close, put their foot on the gas, they got ahead. Every 2 points the Blazers got, Chicago got 3 or 4. They were able to ward them off for most of the night until the fourth quarter when the Blazers were really able to get it going. Outscored the Bulls 32-21 in the fourth. Had their chances, took the lead late, but couldn't hold on. Final score 110 to 107. Anthony Simons led the way with 30 points, 9 assists. Not a bad day from him. As we said in the pregame show, it's just nice to see him moving the ball around, getting those passes with efficiency, getting those assists with efficiency. Doing a great job there. And again, scoring as well. DeAndre Ayton, 25 points, 15 rebounds. Another solid performance from him. Scoot Henderson in the starting lineup tonight. He did play 30 minutes, which is closer to what we wanted to see. He had 14 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, also 6 turnovers. Don't like that, but still nice to see him back in the starting lineup with no minutes restrictions. Chris Murray had a very solid game with 10 points, 5 of 9 shooting from him. You like to see him get his comfort level going. Tamani Kamara played just 14 minutes. He did not score any points. And the bench, Dwight Reith, 14 points, 1 rebound. That was an interesting battle for him. I mean, he was giving up just a little bit of weight and size there to Andre Drummond in the second unit, a guy that we highlighted in the pregame show. He's just been an absolute force for Chicago all season long coming off the bench, but still a good performance from Dwight Reith. And then Delano Banton, he played 33 minutes. He had 11 points. Not all good, though. Matisse Thybulle, who was questionable coming into this one and did come in late, nursing an injury. He played just 5 minutes before re-aggravating that and did not see the court again. So hopefully he gets well soon. Status unknown for the games coming up on Wednesday. On the Chicago Bulls side of things, the mid-range assassin DeMar DeRozan led the way with 28 points. He had 6 assists and 5 rebounds as well. Nikola Vucevic, 22 points, 9 rebounds. And Andre Drummond, like I said, 9 points, 11 rebounds. Like it's they just were able to take care of business. They were able to take care of business. Caruso had just 5 points. Torrey Craig had 6. But overall, Ayo Dosunmu. See, I'm gonna have all the words, the names I can't say. He had 23 as well, but the 28 from DeRozan really did him in. A couple good defensive plays late. Interesting calls late, which we'll hear from Coach Billups here in the post-game show, because Anthony Simons might have got a 3-pointer off that they decided to say, no, that was a foul before the shot. Just give him 2, despite the fact that the ball went in and he could have, put them in a really good spot to walk away with a W. But it wasn't to be tonight as the Blazers fall 110 to 107. On the bright side, they get to hit the court again and they get to come back home. They don't have to sit in the airports for too much longer. They get to come home for 3 games, 2 games against the Clippers, and then 1 against the Nuggets on Saturday. And then it is, if you were listening in, you heard Travis and Holton talk about it. 7 games, 15 nights on the road at Houston, at Atlanta, at Miami, at Orlando, at Charlotte, at Washington, and at Boston. That's their last road trip of the year. True, pure road trip as they end the year on the road in Sacramento. 1 game doesn't really count as a road trip, though. It's a 1-off. Those are different things. Now, Miami made me think, and if you're on the line, stay there. We'll get to you. But Miami made me think Damian Lillard, because he was the talk all summer long, right? A trade was requested. Miami was the preferred destination. Miami fan still hates Blazer fan after the offseason because the trade didn't happen, as if it was Blazer fans' fault. Did you guys notice who was in the stands today watching this one? Damian Lillard. He showed up at United Center courtside to watch this game. And as people pointed out, maybe he drove after the game. I mean, Milwaukee doesn't play, and he's only an hour down the road, hour and a half down the road, came and saw his former team. You could see him on the TV broadcast, kind of dapping it up with Ant after the game. So that was interesting to see. And I think it's one of those things, man. The situation, the way it ended, we all know that it got just a little bit ugly. There's certain reasons why to that, and we've talked to that one, beat that one into the ground. But there's no denying that Damian Lillard loves that organization, loves those players that he played with. And deep down inside, he still loves the Blazers. Kind of cool to see. Not very often that you see that. Maybe there's some Milwaukee fans right now not too happy. Like, why is our guy at a Blazer game? It's our guy now. But anyway, it was cool to see. Holton acted a little confused. Like, is that really who I think it is? You could hear him on the radio broadcast, but it was the letter O. Damian Lillard. Of course, he was wearing a Dame Dolla sweatshirt, so I don't think Damian Lillard showed up to the game. Dame Dolla showed up to the game. Those are like alter egos, right? So I think that one makes sense if you let the alter ego show up, not yourself. If you want to join in on the conversation, tell me what you think. That phone number, 503-248-0620. Some of you have that on speed dial, I know. Of course, I just think I just dated myself. Speed dial, that's not even really a thing anymore. Some of you have that saved in your contacts, I know, and it's on your favorite call list. You just click it, you call, and you know what to do. Speed dial, if you don't know what it is, we'll teach you about that one day. You can also go in, youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and join the chat there as well. But speaking of the phone lines, let's go out there. Talk to this man who's just so eager to be on the show that he called in when we weren't even on air yet and then started messaging the YouTube chat. Joe in Buffalo, welcome in.
Oh, man, I was premature. I thought the show was already going.
That's because you heard Chad's voice. You got confused, like Pavlov's dog.
Yeah, what happened there? Why was Chad? Where did Chad go? What did I was on iHeartRadio, and then is that like two separate things now? Am I?
No, you're good. So this is what happens, Joe in Buffalo, okay? You got the Blazers game, then you got the Blazers post-game show, then you got the fifth quarter, which is the post show. It's the second post-game show.
Yeah.
Chad was filling in for the other host, Mike Lynch, so he was doing the Blazers broadcast today, and now I'm filling in for Chad. So, we just play musical chairs every once in a while.
No, you guys do great, man. I didn't even notice. It was flawless, seamless transitioning, man. That's my bad. Now I feel
good.
like a jerk.
You're good. You're good.
You mentioned on speed dial, I got you guys speed dial 4.
There you go.
Yeah. So it is a thing I still use. Before I get to basketball, I remember 2 shows ago, I think it was, you guys were talking about, you and Jay were talking about kids. You were talking about your daughter, how she gets jealous when you're anywhere near mom or anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what is that? Like, I was dating a girl. I think I'm still dating. I don't know. I'm dating a girl with kids. Her youngest will fall asleep on her, and we'll try to talk and hang out. And if she moves at all, she just gets mad. But she won't go to her room. Because
babies, they just know. They're jealous, and they come out of the womb, Joe. They don't know how to play offense. They only know how to play defense, okay? They're world-class defenders, all-league defenders. They know what they're doing. Like my daughter, she's a year old, but I guarantee you she knows how to box out.
Oh, he's absolutely. That's exactly what it is, man. It's perfect for boxing out, using the 1-3-1. Just you're not getting no passing lanes, nothing, man. You're just not getting in there. I just couldn't believe it because I've never had kids myself. But I figure I can make a pretty decent stepdad. So I'm trying it out, and it's like you said, man, they are just hell of defenders. But,
they are.
I'll make it about basketball now, though. I appreciate you entertaining that. So I noticed Simon's got 51 minutes tonight, right? Somewhere along those lines. Like, he got crazy minutes tonight, and when do we start? Like, we got some questions to answer for next season, like roster-wise, obviously, at guard, and I think we have. I know a lot of our guys are injured, but when do we stop trying to I know winning's good and we want to win, but what we got? 12 games, 13 games left. When do we start trying to look at building chemistry and almost doing, I guess, tryouts to see who can mesh with this team, or like, I'm not saying like he doesn't deserve 51 minutes, but like those are minutes that could have went to Walker. I know he had 33, which is great, but like he also had 10 rebounds, 4 assists. I'm going off of my head before I called. But like, do you think minute distribution with like guys who are inexperienced with the team right now is more important? Like, to try to see if we can build chemistry among the guys and see who's cut for the final roster, or
well, here's the deal, Joe. Here's the deal. First off, Ant played 39 minutes. Can't play 51 minutes in a 48-minute game, okay? He played 39. But I'm with you. I get what you're trying to lay down. The chemistry thing is rough, though. It's really tough to do because how are you going to get a ton of chemistry when you're talking about moving forward when you don't even know what the lineup's going to be, right? I mean, and what I mean by that is where's Chris Murray in this lineup next year? He's starting right now. If this team's healthy, he's not starting. Might not even be coming off the bench, right? He might be guy number 14 or 15. Okay. Obviously, Delano Banton. Delano Banton's looked great. People love him. This team's fully healthy. Where's Delano Banton? He's not in your starting lineup. And he's probably maybe touching your bench rotation. Dwap Reith, who's been great. If you still have Robert Williams on your roster, yeah, where's he getting in? So finding the chemistry is kind of hard because you don't know how that chemistry is going to play out, what equations you have to work with in the next season. So that's tough. Now, the other things, getting your 33 from Walker, that's great. Getting your minutes for Chris Murray to build him up, that's great. But Simon's, 39, he's your best player. He's your best player. And when you talk about building chemistry, I think it's not just building chemistry with guys on the floor. It's building chemistry with yourself and your organization and winning games. Trying your best to win them, trying to get some semblance of culture in that. You just can't be a losing culture. So I don't mind that Ant plays 40. He's your franchise right now. That's what you want. Now, I would have been upset if Scoot played 20 again. He got 30. Heck, I wouldn't have minded him get 39. I was talking pregame show. I didn't care if Scoot got in foul trouble. Leave him in. He picked up 3 fouls in the first quarter. I don't care. Let him play. Let him battle through it. That's what I want to see. So the chemistry part, though, to your point, it's a very valid question. It's just hard. It's just hard because, again, look at the starting lineup. Tamani Kamara, Chris Murray, DeAndre Ayton, Anthony Simon, Scoot Henderson. How many of those guys are in your starting lineup next year? I mean that realistically. There's probably a lot of you that just went, what do you mean? Well, yeah, maybe not Chris Murray, but, Simon, Scoot, okay. What if Shea's healthy? What if there's an off-season move? What if it's Simon that's traded? What if, for some reason, it's Scoot? What if Tumani? What if he's not the guy? You see him more as a bench guy because there's still a lot of unanswered questions. So just give everyone your minutes. Give your young guy your minutes. Go out there. See what you got. Chemistry will come. They're all auditioning for spots. Doesn't matter. It might not even be for the Blazers. they're auditioning because their livelihoods, they're on the line because you never know what's going to come next. Appreciate the call as always. You know what? You would. You'd make one heck of a stepdad. Work on it. I guarantee you, no matter how good you think you are, though, Joe, you won't be able to outbox the box out kings that are the children. They play great defense. Let me tell you what. Like, they know if you're even thinking about possibly, you're sitting there like, yeah, I think I'm going to go over there and give my wife a hug and a kiss. Just the thought of that. All of a sudden you hear, mom, and then you hear the little pitter patter of feet come running down the hall. Like, they felt it. Like, Star Wars must have been written about children because children have the Force. Like, they can sense a disturbance in said Force, and they will show up. And then they'll look at you just like Yoda does, eyes closed, hand out, like they're trying to do. They're little Jedis, let me tell you what. You got to be careful with them, Joe. You got to be careful with them. It's true. If anyone, tell me I'm wrong. You can't tell me I'm wrong. It's true. You'll find out when you're recruited and you're over there and you're trying to deal with the little Jedis, the little Yodas, and you're getting boxed out left and right. And the only thing you have left to do is just a holler like Chewbacca. All mad because you're getting beat up by someone who's like 1.5 feet tall. And you don't know where all the strength came from. It's wild. Childhood and parenthood. It's quite the journey, Joe. It's quite the journey. Appreciate your call as always. Calling in all the way from Buffalo, where I couldn't tell if he was driving or it was some, winter, spring Buffalo storm, but the wind was going. Pretty sure he's driving, though. Have fun, Joe. Talk to you Wednesday because I know you're going to call in. You're the man. All right, going to take a quick break here on the fifth quarter. When we come back, we're going to hit you with our shot of the night and what's the scoot. And if you want to get in on the chat, you know what to do. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. You can also go over to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, join the conversation there. I am Chris Burkhardt. The fifth quarter rolls on right here on your home of the Trailblazers, Rip City Radio 620.
Liberty Coin and Currency presents the fifth quarter shot of the night. Liberty Coin and Currency, the place to buy and sell your gold, silver, jewelry, and coins.
Blazers down 2, 3:37 to play. Simons three-pointer for the lead, buries it. Blazers lead 103-102. Their first lead of the second half. 28 for Anthony Simons.
The The best performing team requires the best workstations. What's the Scoot? Is brought to you by Office Furniture Reborn. Need desks, better office chairs, or just the right file cabinet? Office Furniture Reborn has a huge selection of colors and sizes to choose from. So drop by Office Furniture Reborn's huge showroom just off Pacific Highway in 217 or visit www.officefurniturereborn.com.
Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here, filling in for Chad Doing. And it is time for What's the Scoop? What is the haps on the Blazers rookie? He played 30 minutes tonight, had 14 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, did have 6 turnovers. But it was nice to see him back in the starting lineup, a place he hasn't been for a while after getting hurt, coming back in, being on the minutes restriction. The big thing was the minutes restriction was lifted, so he was able to play a few more minutes. He still barely hit the 30-minute mark, and I would have liked that to be flipped a little bit because, again, Delano Banton had 33, Jabari Walker had 33, Ant had 39. I want to see Scoot in that realm. Again, unless you have a minutes restriction, which he didn't tonight, I do not see a reason that Delano Banton should be playing more than Scoot. I want Scoot to get all those minutes, every single one of them. Heck, play him 48. See what happens. Let him be gassed. I just want to see him out there. Throw him to the fire. I don't care what's going on. I don't care if he's in foul trouble. I don't care if he's turning the ball over every pass. Get him out there. 30 minutes tonight was nice. 6 turnovers, not so great. But 14 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Not a bad line. I'll say this again about him. I'm not worried about him yet. It's early in the season for him, right? The season is getting close to done, but he's only at the halfway point, basically, with the amount of games he's played because he's had some various injuries and then sat out. It's very, very early in his career. He's just fresh turned 20 years old, but he's got the right head on his shoulders. He's always looking forward, not looking back. I think the biggest thing for him is he's just got to find his voice. Once he finds his voice and his spot on the hierarchy, on the pecking ladder, I think that's when you're going to get the best of him. I think that's the same reason you've seen the best out of DeAndre Ayton lately, is you can tell DeAndre Ayton has found his voice. You can see him yelling at people on the floor, telling them where to be, being a coach on the floor defensively. He found his voice, and with it, he found his game. I think Scoot will find his. Now, if it's game, 68 is what we've just gone through now. So if it's game 68 in 2025, and he's still averaging 12 points and 4 assists and puts up a 14, 5, and 6 game, then I'm a little stressed. Right now, I'm not. I still think there's a big jump to come, and I hope we see it. I'm rooting for the man, as we all should be. All right, if you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. You can also go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and you can join everyone else there in the conversation. Some of them having fun. Some of them, like Phil, who says Scoot is a great disappointment. And, like I said, that's fair. It's absolutely fair to think that, Phil. I don't think he is yet, because to me, I still think the jury's out on him. However, would I like to see more? Absolutely. Don't we all? Like going into the draft, I was looking at Brandon Miller. I thought Brandon Miller's ready-made. And you look at how he's played in Charlotte. He's a good player. He's a good player. Now, none of them are Wemby, who's a freak. But outside of Wemby and some really good games from Brandon Miller, like, what's the rookie class? They're rookies for a reason, man. They take time. It's very, very hard for me to just look at a guy and say, you have to be good year one or you're toast. I brought up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the pregame show. He played all 82 games his rookie year, started 72 of them. And in that time, he averaged fewer points, fewer assists, fewer rebounds than Scoot Henderson's averaging right now. Where's SGA right now? SGA might be one of the top 5 players in the entire NBA. So I'm not going to, watch the ship sail away on Scoot 60 games into his career. Not in the least. Now, if you think he's a disappointment, Phil, that's like I said, it's fair. It's fair. You do you, as my wife would tell me. That's fine. I'm just not ready to get there yet. And I really hope I don't have to, because if I have to get there, then I'm going to be a really sad man. All right, let's go out to the phone lines. Let's head out first to our man, Tall Tim, who's been waiting patiently. Tim, welcome into the fifth quarter.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, I will make a point about Scoot, but let me get to my points
Do
before I forget. All right. First of all, this is the perfect game. They have real game situation. They could win it. They came back. They played good enough defense for sure
Mm-hmm.
to almost pull it off, but they lose because that's exactly, unfortunately, this year. That's what you want. So you want to give these guys the best real game experience against a good team, force the other team to play their starters down the stretch. We've done the last 3-4 games.
Yeah.
They've had to be in there, and that's exactly what you want. Obviously, some different moves being made to not have the full team out there, but that's all right.
Yeah.
It's a pretty thin crop, is my understanding of the draft this year, so that's fine. We got to get a top 6-7 pick, and I think look at the guys we picked up this year that nobody knew about, and they're pretty good players. So I think we have much better scouting now, much better awareness of guys that are going to be NBA players.
Mm-hmm.
So I call this a win tonight. The second point is we really got to sort out who's going to improve on their three-point shooting and who's probably going to be, just not at that level. Because unfortunately, this game now with the way the three-point ball goes, the reason we got back in the game is because certain guys started hitting three-point shots, right? That's the only reason we got back in the game.
Yeah.
And so you have to hit threes, and so we got guys that are, not looking good, but they're young, so they're still young. So, and again, I think it comes down to the scouting and going through all the odds and the stats and all that to kind of figure out, okay, who's going to really get up to a level, that does enough other things. There's a couple of guys, obviously Murray and Walker. They do a bunch of other things, but are they ever going to get to that level? So that's what we got to sort out. Not too far away, because we have to get other guys on the team, and you don't want to wait too long to make that decision. So that's number 2. And then 3, if you needed to pick up a vet that could hit a 3, that knew how to get a 3, was there anybody in attendance tonight that might be kind of fun to look at and a couple seasons down the road?
I see what you're laying down. I see what you're laying down. I'll tell you this, Tim. If a couple years down the road, when his contract is up and he's looking at free agency, and the Blazers have built themselves in the contender, and they need a veteran guy to come in and hit big shots, I'd welcome Dame back.
Heck yeah, and he would too, right?
I think he absolutely
would. Get one here. He would love it, even if because who knows what Milwaukee's going to do, but they got a couple years to get there. But it would be a magical ending to his career, and heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
Now, before we move on, I don't know if you have another caller, but Scoot, as a point guard, I mean, okay, Brandon Miller, he's not having to handle the ball, get guys looks, get assists, guard the point of attack. So Scoot's having to do 6, 7, get better at 6 or 7 or 8 things all at the same time. And, it's hard enough to get good at a couple of things.
No joke.
So I totally agree with you, because he's shown glimpses of being able to do that. He's shown, gets the ball, just drives down the hoop, and nobody can even ready for him. He's at the rim, but now he's trying to figure out, God, these guys are big and they're fast. I can't just throw crap up the rim. I have to make a counter move, or I have to, Dame wasn't able to finish at the rim all that easy, as I recall, early in his career. So he's got that going on, the 3 ball to be consistent again. But I think he's got more potential that I've seen so far than a lot of the other guys. And then just, do I do a pull-up? Do I do a floater? How do I get a pass to a guy without getting deflections? Because, again, that's an NBA. Everybody's fast and got big arms, and you got to figure all that stuff out. So he's just going a mile a minute trying to figure all this stuff out. And like you said, he's been kind of up and down. So he's got a lot of stuff on his plate, but I'm no way you're going to give up on that kid.
I don't think you should, Tim. I don't think you should. He's like a freshman who got the call up to varsity. You know, he's not going to get a lot of playing time, but the coach has him up there because he sees potential in him. Once he gets coached up, I think he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, and I think Simons is a kind of player that I think, he's obviously a pretty good. He's able to get assist and score. He's done great this year with a lot of up and downs and lineup changes. But I think those guys will figure it out. It's like I think Simons is the guy that doesn't necessarily have to have the ball in his hands all the time because he's such a good shooter. But he's got to have guys that are able to get him the pass at the right time and the right place, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You are correct, Tim. All right. Thank you for the call as always. I got to let you know the YouTube channel, as soon as you called, they started saying sing to us. So, we need some more YouTube uploads. All right. You need to get on it.
All right. I'll send you some stuff.
All right, man. I appreciate you. As always. Thanks for the call. And yeah, it's what you got there with Scoot. I think you'll be fine. He's right. He's got a lot on his plate. He's trying to learn a lot. He's trying to learn a ton. It's not easy to be a point guard in this game, especially when they put such lofty expectations on you. I think it'll be fine. Now, I see what Tim's laying down, too. Bring Dame back one day? I mean, I was talking to my buddy about this the other day, Trailcaster Keith, one of the podcast buddies, because he was not happy the minute Dame got traded. He's like, Dame's dead to me. Dame. And then I brought this up at the game. I was like, man, I could totally see a scenario of like Dame could come back one day. And then he was like, oh, yeah. I would take it. I was like, yeah, time heals all wounds. He came back. You'd welcome him back. You absolutely all would. You want to join the phone conversations? 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Let's head out to friend of the show, Victor from Turkey. Victor, how you doing?
Hi, Chris. Thank you for your response on time. You have to excuse my language. Everybody knows I have an accent. I don't know how do I sound over the microphone. I can hear myself, but when I talk to a lot of people, the first thing they tell me, "Hey, Victor, you have accent. Where do you come from? Where do you come from?"
No, hey, Victor, Victor, it's okay. So my grandpa, they grew up on the Hawaiian Islands, but my grandpa was Filipino through and through, right? And he had the strongest accent ever. So I grew up listening to my grandpa's accent. So listening to you, it's pretty easy. I can get through these conversations, my man.
All right. Anyways, I know you are a logical person. Well, a lot of people nowadays are very logical. I'm logical too, and I want to say that I'm kind of I don't want to say I'm intelligent or something like that, but I go deep in like a psychology or things like that, the mental things, because I think not even in America, if you go to like the lowest country, you go to a country that they have no no technology, nothing, but their mental is so focused, they're so focused that it's unbelievable, they live like only by mental, power. Look, they only live by mental, not the physical. But in basketball, we need, of course, in a sport and basketball, we need mental and physical both. But what I'm saying is, the time. I was listening to some American billionaire, from New York or something. And one of them, he came to the TV, and they asked him, what is the most important thing for you? And he said, time. Time is the most important. So what I'm saying is, when the last caller, when he talked to you, he said, if I understood his one of his view, he said number 2, they have to figure it out, he said like sooner than later. So I'm saying that the time is so important that I just want to get your opinion later. But what I'm saying is, say Scoot right now is an average player. I mean, he's a good player. overall is an average. Right now is an average shooter right now, but he's gonna get better. But what I'm saying is, to your opinion, if all these people right now we have a lot of good player, and we have some average player. So, to your opinion, if we keep all of these, all of these players that we have, and maybe we can change a couple of them, but of course we don't want to change. We don't want to trade the Scoot, of course. But what I'm saying is, how long you think do we have to? What I'm saying, do we have? For me, I have no patience for me, but maybe you have a patient. Maybe you have a patient yourself because you're an analyst. You're you work for the sport. You don't play, but you work for the sport. But what I'm saying is, the people that they call, some of them they are not happy.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Because as long as my player Anthony Simon, he has scored 30 points, I'm happy with that. But of course I like to Blazer win, but I'm not gonna criticize them because what they have on on the roster. But what I'm saying is, you think if they keep all these players, how long it takes them, to be like in the middle of the rack?
Yeah.
How long it takes them? Like if they have all these players, maybe next year you think? I don't think with the same player they have to make a little bit changes, because with this player they are not going to go to the maybe playoff next year.
We'll
What
see.
do you think?
Yeah, we'll see. Thanks for the call, Victor. And this team fully healthy going into the year, I pegged them as a 33-win team. And I still think that's where they would be if they're fully healthy. And, if they had Malcolm Brogdon all year long, Ayton was playing like this all year long, Scoot wasn't missing games, Shea wasn't missing games. That's what I think they are. I mean, they're 19 wins right now, so they're 13 off of that. But how many of those games have been missed to injury? So, yeah, I think they would have been about a 33-win team, but that wouldn't have been good enough to be in the playoffs or make noise or do anything, right? So even as is, you'd still be a team that needs to make some moves. 33 wins right now would still put them in 11th place, outside of the play-in, 3.5 back from Los Angeles, if they were the team that I thought they were going to be at the end of the year, right? And they wouldn't be at 33 right now. They'd be at 28 or whatever. So they still wouldn't be close. So you're right. They still need to make moves to get this thing where they need to go. The patience thing, to me, I think you're another year and a half out. Maybe if you make the right moves over the offseason, it's trading one of your guards. Malcolm Brogdon's on the table, possibly, right? Maybe it's Ant. You try to get in a small forward who can be your true starting small forward, or an upgraded power forward, wherever you want to think you need to do. Get shooters on your bench, get a couple events. Maybe next year it clicks with you guys and you're, a 7th, 8th seed going into the play-in. Maybe. But as is, you're probably still on the outside. You still got things to do. You got to get Scoot there. You got to be patient. And I know that's hard. For me, I think it's fun because I say this. With Dame, we knew what we were getting every year. You could have put me in a Blazer uniform. You could have put Victor in a Blazer uniform. You could have put Tall Tim in there. Joe in Buffalo could have entered the transfer portal. He could have came in too. And Dame would have put us all on his back, and you would have been in playoff contention. That's just how good Dame was. This year's just different because you don't know what to expect. Heck, you don't even know who's going to be in the starting lineup every day. But you do have to be patient to let these things go. And I can say that from experience. I mean, this is not basketball, but like hosting the 5th quarter. I came into this job confident as all hell, right? Put me in front of that mic. I know what I can do. I know that right now, couple, 100 shows in, I am so much better at doing this than I was a year and a half ago. Why? Reps and time, practice, trust and confidence from your boss, listening to your coaches and your coworkers and everyone else, and just getting better at it. You don't get better by just sitting there and hoping you get better. You just got to dive in. So if I can get better at hosting the show with reps, pretty confident that Scoot can get better at basketball with reps. So patience it's key, Victor. But what helps that is being healthy and being on the floor, right? Not missing games, playing as many of the 82 as you can. That's what's important. You know what else is also important? You talk about being better at this show right now. YouTube is probably wondering why Chris was laughing. It's because my wife is over here texting me, trying to make me laugh, trying to see if she can distract me. And the thing is, she's really good at it, and she does. She's like just cracking wise, cracking jokes. She started a new job, so she wakes up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So 8:30, she's reached the point of delirium, and she's like, let's just have fun. And can I distract him? It only takes like one text. And I'm like, you should have been a comedian because you cracked me up, lady. She's the best. Shout out to Danielle. All right, now let's head to Salem where David has been waiting patiently. David, welcome into the fifth quarter. Floor is yours.
Hey, Chris, it's good. Thanks for taking my call. You know, I'm not enamored with Scoot Henderson, but I agree he's young and he deserves a chance. But I don't want to see the Blazers place too much hope on a number 3 draft pick. I know it's the highest pick they've had in a long time. I think it's probably goes back to Damian Lillard and probably maybe C.J. McCollum, and they think they were taking 5 or 6 to get a number 3 pick for the Blazers. But I'm wondering if they're putting too much on this guy. And I'm not sure I can evaluate anybody that's played in the G League as being a potential starter coming into the NBA. Has there been any great ones? I doubt it. And I'd almost rather see him playing in the G League and not putting too much burden on him and give other people a chance to play that are going to be successful. Obviously, we're not going to go anywhere, but to have somebody that's not being successful and not playing, despite injuries, I question whether they're doing this or if it's just going through the motions of playing players and tanking. It comes across that way to me, and I'm still going to follow the Blazers, and I'm wishing the best for Scoot Henderson, but I just haven't seen it yet, any consistency, and for a number 3 pick. That concerns me. Have you followed the other high top 10 picks?
Well, I mean, obviously, we all know what Vic has done, right? He's been absolutely incredible. He's been as advertised. I think Brandon Miller, the guy who went right before Scoot to Charlotte, has been really good. A lot of people kind of expected that because he was built in that NBA ready frame. And outside of that, though, I mean, there's been decent players. I mean, Orlando's Anthony Black, he's been pretty internet famous over the last 24 hours, but it hasn't been for his play on the court. The Thompson brothers they've shown spurts, but they haven't been great. Balil Coulibaly, he's out for the year now with it's just like there hasn't been anyone that's just been leaps and bounds like, oh, yep, that's the guy. I mean, Grady Dick came in, also internet famous for the last 24 hours. And he's got a good shot, and he's shown some flashes, and he was taken there at 13th overall. But overall, the draft class hasn't been crazy good from the jump. And again, these guys take time. You don't just have a ton of them that just show up on day one and are all that in a bag of chips, as this 90s kid would say. So, again, that's why I would give Scoot time, because I've seen flashes of things that I like from him.
I agree with you, Chris. I mean, I've seen some really good nights for him. I'm just perplexed. I just, even if you're losing, you want to win, but even if you're losing, I think those higher draft picks are so important. And, like I think we talked a while back on trying to get a player with more experience and not necessarily going with a freshman and getting some size. I still hope that they can draft a really big power forward, somebody 6'10" or taller, or even an additional center that maybe can play two ways. And that's what I'm hoping for, is just continue to improve the team and don't place hope in one player, because we've seen the history of the Blazers at drafting players pretty highly, like Greg Oden, and things just not working out. It wasn't that they weren't a good pick. They just had injuries and just didn't make it. It's such a tough place to have a successful long-term career. And like any draft pick in any sport, you really don't know what you're going to get if you get such a young person and their potential. They can be so athletic and just amazing young people. And I like Scoot Henderson, you know that. But I just don't want to see people put too much hope in him. And I don't want to see the Blazers try to position him in a place where the whole fan base has every expectation of him being the savior when it's a team game still. Chris, thanks so much for taking my call.
Yeah, David, don't thank me for taking it. I thank you for taking the time to call. It means you're listening, and I truly appreciate that you guys are listening to me. And to your point about, drafting a power forward, I mean, that's a prospect that you got to do. The one thing they could do in this draft that would blow my mind, and I don't want to blow a gasket. If I blow a gasket, is if they sit there and they get a top 5 pick and they draft a guard. Like, just don't do it. But you look at the players, right? So right now, a lot of people, and I think you've asked me about this here before, David, but Alexander Sarr is a guy that a lot of people are kind of starting to almost lock in at that number 1 spot. And again, doesn't look like that will go to Portland, but that's why you have the lottery. There's a chance, but he's a 7-foot tall power forward / center. Also from France, like Wemby, really good athlete. I think he's going to be a really good basketball player, good defensively, good offensively. Not the unicorn that Wemby was, but he's a baller. And then you go down the list, and there's another name that I really like, and it's definitely one I would watch, and that's Cody Williams. I small forward, power forward, 6'8", 6'9", just a shade under 200 pounds. Very good basketball player. Very good basketball player. People comp him to like Jaden McDaniels, who we've seen. Very good basketball player. So that's a guy that, I mean, if he's available and you're sitting there at the 5 or 6 pick, I think you take him with that pick. Other than that, I just don't know where you go. I don't know where you go. You got a lot of guards in this draft. Other guys I just don't know if I would take. You got Philip Kowski out of Duke. 6'11", 7-foot power forward center. He could do some things too. We'll see where he's available. But as someone just said in the YouTube chat, David, it was Eric, trade both picks for some vets and superstars. And honest to God, I think that is something that's going to be on the table. And I don't think they're going to trade Scoop, but you listen if people call. You can't tell me that Brogdon and a top 5 pick isn't going to get you something that you might really like. Or Ant and multiple picks, because you have 2 of them coming into this draft, possibly 2 in the lottery, depending on how the Warriors finish this thing out. So there's room. There's room to build this thing the way they want it, David. And I appreciate the call, as always, all the way from Salem, which I spent all weekend in Salem. You should have come down to the pavilion and watched the OSAA State Dance Championship, so you could have just, sat with me and we could have just talked basketball for a few hours. All right, if you're on hold, stay there. We'll get to you. If you're not on hold because you haven't called yet, do it. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to hit you with an NBA scoreboard report, take you around the NBA, and get you up to date. Chris Burkhardt here. It is the 5th quarter on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
time for a fifth quarter scoreboard report, powered by Columbia Heating and Cooling, raising your expectations of comfort.
All right, welcome back into the fifth quarter. It is now time for a scoreboard report. Take a look around the NBA to see what's going on. First off, let's start down in the Bay in Golden State. 2 minutes left in the third quarter. The Knicks have the 93-84 lead over the Warriors. Jalen Brunson leading the way with 29 points. Steph Curry has 22 for Golden State. End of the third quarter in Sacramento, just inward into the valley there. The Kings have the 84-76 lead over the Grizzlies. Desmond Bane with 20 points. Domantas Sabonis 17 and 13 for the Kings. In Los Angeles, Atlanta 64, Lakers 78, 9.5 left in the third. LeBron James leading the way with 19 points. Final score in Indianapolis, Cleveland 108, Pacers 103. Karis LeVert, 23 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists for Cleveland. Tyrese Halliburton, 14, 6 rebounds, and 12 assists for the Pacers. In Boston, the Celtics grabbed the 119-94 victory over Detroit. Ivy had 21 for the Pistons. White with 22, 10, and 10 for the Celtics. He's been pretty darn good for them all season long. What a get for them from San Antonio. In Philadelphia, in a pretty good matchup for these two teams, they both came in at 37 and 30, vying for the 7th, 8th spot in the play-in and maybe a chance to get a little bit higher. Miami falls to the 76ers, 98-91. Bam Adebayo with 20 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 assists. Tyrese Maxey, 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 10 assists for the 76ers. In Utah, Minnesota grabs the 114-104 victory. Anthony Edwards, 32 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. Lauri Markkanen led Utah with 22 points and 12 boards. And at the United Center in the Windy City of Chicago, the Bulls pick up the 110-107 victory over your Portland Trailblazers. DeMar DeRozan leading the way for Chicago with 28 points and 6 assists. DeAndre Ayton, a 25-point, 15-rebound double-double for your Blazers. If you want to jump in on the chat, you know what to do. 503-248-0620 is the telephone number, or you can go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and jump in on the chat. Get in there with everybody. Everybody's having some fun. I don't know what's going on in there. I can't keep up. Everyone's just chiming in. I gave Joe a nickname because he was driving while he called me. He's now Joe Fast and Furious or Vin Diesel. Depends on how cranky he's being. We got some good topics in there. Eric talking about trading picks. Everyone just going in. I love it. You guys are awesome. Keep the chat rolling. But it is now time to head back out to the phone lines where, if we ranked our callers, this guy would probably be in the top 3, and I don't think he'd be number 2 or number 3. It is Ralph the Landscaper. Welcome into the fifth quarter, Ralph.
Hey, how you doing, Burkhardt? I'm traveling right now. I'm driving down, by hand, as they say, instead of flying. I'm driving down by hand. I'm going to go and meet with Lucy, who manages my towing company down there and 13% owner, and then just enjoy this time of year. Hopefully I'll get through the mountains by the time the rain comes. I'm kind of taking my time. But, I wanted to just, say something here, Burkhardt. And the only reason I'm willing to call and say this is because you sort of brought the topic up, and I wanted to piggyback on it as I hear these guys say, I really appreciate Chan, the job that he does, and the principal whenever he was on, and Alan, and they were all very good. And of course, I really like you, and I really, lift up the work that you've done to getting the YouTube thing going and all the technical stuff. And you're even versatile enough to go out and do a high school a cheer and dance deal. That's versatility.
Oh, thank you.
Don't you think so?
I think so.
Who else could do that?
I don't want to know, because that means that I have competition. I need the job security. Okay. Yeah.
I'm sure that's a good one for you. You probably have to pass all kinds of tests and everything to go do that job. Now, tell me, what was that maneuver that dance team? Oh, Burkhardt knows that maneuver right there. He knows that move. He knows the triple spin with a salt and pepper shaker at the top.
Yeah,
he knows what that is.
Pirouette or plie or triple sow cow. I don't even know anymore. It all blurs together.
Yeah, see that? But you were commenting about how you've gotten a lot better at this, doing it a few hundred times now, and I was driving, listening to you today, and I heard you mention my name, and then I heard you just a little bit ago, and when I heard you today, I thought, it's good that he had a little break to get away from this, because I know you work a lot of hours and come and go and do all kinds of things that are not necessarily on the air, but you do a very good job at it, and I really appreciate it, and I'll give you the backdrop of why I really, really appreciate it, is because here the other night we had a guy on there, Mr. Peter Ratings Eater, as I nicknamed him, and he wasn't very good, and he kind of hung up on me, and he's like a stale, dried up piece of sourdough toast. If you've ever had dried up sourdough toast,
oh yeah,
with nothing to wash it down, then that's Peter Ratings Eater was that guy. But so it just made me have a fonder appreciation for you and Chan and the principal and Travis and all the guys that are professional and good. So just never become a dried up piece of toast, and I don't think you will when you're doing girls dance and drill team judging or record. I don't know what you're doing there, but
I can't. You're right, though. No, you're right. I can't become a dried up piece of toast, because even if I tried to, I have a beautiful wife and 3 beautiful daughters at home who wouldn't allow it. So it doesn't. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't.
Go. Now I want you to tell me that website of your wife's business where she makes the scarves and the dog stuff. I looked at that, and that was very neat. What's the name of it? I'm asking. You don't need to.
That's right. That's KellyBirdDog.com.
KellyBirdDog.com.
Kelly
Okay,
Bird
I looked at that stuff, and it was well done, and I'm an animal lover, and that stuff was good. I may have to put in an order. KellyBirdDog.com. Okay, I got that. All right, well, I'm going to let you go. I'm sure you have some other calls, but just keep up the good work, okay, Burkhardt? And I like your haircut. I like your trim up, or whatever you called it.
Appreciate you, Ralph, as always. Yeah, that's why I said Ralph was going to call in, because everyone was talking about my hair. Hey, Ralph, though, you got to give me credit. I mean, the collared shirt's on today. We're only being filmed from mid-chest up, but I got the nice slacks on. I don't even have ankle socks on, my man. I have dress socks on, okay? I had to go to the office today. I had to doll up just a little bit. All right, we're going to take our last break of the show here. Thanks, as always, Ralph, for the call. I know my wife appreciates the Kelly Bird Dog shout-out. Go buy your guys some nice dog bandanas. They are beautiful, if I do say so myself. All right, we are going to take a last break, though. When we come back, we're going to hear from Coach Chauncey Billups. Then we're going to put a bow on this one, because I'm ready to go home. My wife's yelling at me. Chris Burkhardt here. 5th quarter rolls on. And you're home of the Blazers. Rip City Radio 620.
Time Jeep of Portland presents The Coach's Corner with Chauncey Billups. Time for a brand new ride from Time Jeep of Portland. You won't believe the huge deals they're offering. With over 300 new and used vehicles to choose from, you'll find the perfect ride for your new adventure at Time Jeep. Find us just minutes away from the Moda Center off I-84 or visit timejeep.com. Drive with time.
This makes me want to play Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. For those of you listening on the radio can hear the music. What you got to say? Shout out to Mr. Llewellyn, Michael Llewellyn down at UP. He sent me an email, said, gave Mike Oakes a shout out. He said, whoever's picking the 70s music tonight, killing it. It's a good job, Oakes. But it is time now for the Coach's Corner. Let's head back out to the United Center, where Coach Billups talked to the media following the 110-107 loss to the Bulls.
It was a tough one all night, really. I mean, we were so far below our our halftime goals as far as passing the ball. It just was a tough passing night for us, and then, we get to the fourth quarter, and then we find a way to start moving it. Playing very quickly, got us back in the game, playing the way that we normally like to play, and we gave ourselves a chance, which was great. And, us not playing well, they had 4 or 5 end of the shot clock shots they just threw up and made, those type of things, they take a little wind out of your sail, but we kept playing, we kept fighting, and, end of the game, I didn't think we executed very well down the stretch when it all counted.
You guys won the rebounding battle, and it felt it was just from watching from the naked eye, it was a very physical game, especially down low. Was that something you were preaching, crashing the boards, because you did a great job of it, especially in the fourth? Yeah. We knew we needed to. We were gonna need help down there. Da can't do it all by himself, and they got 2 big guys over there that really rebound. Andre Drummond is just a beast on the glass. You just can't keep him off. You try to put 2 guys on him. But yeah, I thought we did a good job on the glass for the most part. I thought our defense was pretty good all night. We changed up. From our zone to our man, we just changed up a lot defensively. I thought defensively we were good enough. I thought Ant had a really good game versus their pressure. Having 9 assists and 1 turnover, was big time. Because they have some real defenders on that team, and they try to force you into a lot of bad situations. And I thought the decision making and stuff really stood out, and obviously Da was a force again.
You talk about kind of their size. In the fourth quarter, you were playing DeAndre and Wap and Jabari all together. Kind of what did you like about that lineup? I imagine because it probably gave you some size, and you had Wap, I think, scored 12 points in the fourth quarter as well. Yeah,
I went big at that point. Again, we was just trying to really, we was trying to really turn the tide a little bit, and we went really big, having Delano at the 2 and at the point, and then we went, obviously Barry, Wap, and Da. I thought it was a good lineup for us, to be honest with you. We played so much zone in the game, I wasn't really worried too much about that us defensively there. I thought we were solid there, and then we didn't even play zone with that unit. We played a lot of switching defenses, and I thought they helped each other. So I was happy with how we played with that unit.
How close do you think it was to get that 3-pointer off the win in?
Yeah, I thought it was close. I thought it was real close. I thought the whistle was kind of early, to be honest with you. But, I don't know. I'm sure they were right.
That was Coach Billups following the loss in Chicago. And, it is what it is. You got to move on and get another chance to get at it. The Blazers return home here on Wednesday against the Clippers. So we'll see what happens. We'll have more fun. We'll get to talk about it. And shout out to everyone who joined on the YouTube chat. And real quick, Sean and Sandy called. I don't think he wanted to be on, but he told Oakes, the producer back there, he gave him a good line. And that was after Ralph called and said Peter was a dry toast. He said one man's dry toast is another man's croutons. And that's right. Maybe you're not feeling dry toast that night, but you're feeling some croutons on your salad, right? Like Rachel and we talked about in the pregame, not everyone feels the man bun. but sometimes you just got to own it. Peter deserves a shout out. A, Peter was great. And B, Peter saved my bacon. I had to go down to that OSAA state dance and drill competition, and I didn't get it covered. I forgot to tell Chad. I was like, oh no, I got mud on my face. Peter filled in on short notice, and I think he killed it. So, Peter, shout out to you. Thank you so much for helping me out. You're welcome back anytime. Judging by the YouTube chat, they loved you. Rachel is a fan. Good work. Good work. Good work to all you. Thanks to all my callers. Thanks to the YouTube channel. Blazers, let's look at this real quick. I got to give you the proper info before I sign off. Otherwise, they'll yell at me. Blazers, though, return to the court on Wednesday, taking on the Clippers at Moda Center, 7 p.m. tip. That means game day, hosted by yours truly, starts at 4:30. Right back at it. We'll have some fun. You guys have been awesome. I will see you Wednesday. And as Chad would say, show me your Blazer.